Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe Jaya Devi Prandana He Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe Jaya Radha Madan Gopal Radha Madan Gopal Radhe Sita Nate Prandana He Jaya Radha Madan Gopal Radha Madanam Gopal Radhe Jaya Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Radhe Rupa Goswami Prandana He Jaya Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Radhe Jaya Radha Madan Mohan Radha Madan Mohan Radhe Sanatana Prandana He Jaya Radha Madan Mohan Radha Madan Mohan Radhe Jaya Radha Gopinatha Radha Gopinatha Radhe Madhu Pandit Prandana He Jaya Radha Gopinatha Radha Gopinatha Radhe Jaya Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Radhe Jeev Goswamir Prandana Hai. Jaya Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Radhe. Jaya Radha Ramana Radha Ramana Radhe. Gopal Bhatter Prandana Hai. Jaya Radha Ramana Radha Ramana Radhe. Jaya Radha Vinodha Radha Vinodha Radhe. Lokanather Prandana Hai. Jaya Radha Vinodha Radha Vinodha Radhe. Jaya Radha Gokulananda Radha Gokulananda Radhe. Vishwanather Prandana Hai. Jaya Radha Gokulananda Radha Gokulananda Radhe. Jaya Radha Giridhari Radha Giridhari Radhe. Das Goswamir Prandana Hai. Jaya Radha Giridhari Radha Giridhari Radhe. Jaya Radha Shama Sundar Radha Shama Sundar Radhe. Shamanandar Prandana Hai. Shamanandar Prandana Hai. Jaya Radha Shama Sundar Radha Shama Sundar Radhe. Jaya Radha Banka Bihari Radha Banka Bihari Radhe. Hari Daser Prandana Hai. Jaya Radha Banka Bihari Radha Banka Bihari Radhe. Jaya Radha Kanta Radha Kanta Radhe Rakrishware Prandana He Jaya Radha Kanta Radha Kanta Radhe Jaya Gandharvika Giridhari Gandharvika Giridhari Radhe Saraswati Prandana He Jaya Gandharvika Giridhari Gandharvika Giridhari Radhe Jaya Radha Madan Mohan Radha Madan Mohan Radhe Ujjvala Gauravara Deham Nivasita Niravari Bhava Videham Tribhuvana Pavana Kripaya Lesham Tam Pranamami Cha Shri Sachitanayam Haribo Gadgadantara Bhava Vikaram Durjana Tarjana Nada Vishalam Bhavabhaya Bhajana Karuna Karunam Tam Pranamami Cha Shri Sachitanayam. How come the lights aren't on the acharyas? Aranam Bharadara Charu Kapolam Induvinindita Nakachaya Ruchiram Jal Pitta Nijaguna Nama Vinodam Tam Pranamami Cha Shri Sachitanayam. Vigalita Nayana Kamala Jaladharam Bhushana Navarasa Bhava Vikaram Gati Yati Mantara Nritya Vilasam Tam Pranamami Cha Shri Sachitanayam. Chanchala Charu Charana Gati Ruchiram Manjira Ranjita Pada Juga Madhuram Chandravinindita Shitala-varanam Tam Pranamami Cha Shri Sachitanayam. Dhritakati Dora Kamandalu Dandam Divyat Kalevara Mundita Mundam. Durjana Kalmashakandana Dandam Chanparamami Cha Shri Sachitanayam. Bhushana Bhurajalakavalitam Kampita Bimdaravara Ruchiram. Malayaja Vira Chitta Ujjvala Tilakam Tam Pranamami Cha Shri Sachitanayam. Ninditaruna Kamaladalanayanam Ajanulam Pitta Shri Bhuja Jugalam. Kalevara Kaishora Nartaka Vesham Tam Pranamami Cha Shri Sachitanayam. Ujjvala Varana Pura Deham Nivasita Niravari Bhava Videham. Tribhuvana Pavana Krupaya Lesham Tam Pranamami Cha Shri Sachitanayam. Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Gaurahari. Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Gaurahari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Sai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo Ishvara 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 Parama Krishna Sakchit Ananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. Isn't that a little low? Chintamani. Okay, go back. Sorry, my fault. Sahasrapat Kamalam Gokulakyam Mahatpadam Tatkarnikaram Tadama Taranantam Shasambhavam Karnikaram Mahadyantram Shatkonam Vajrakilakam Sharanga Shatpadistanam Prakrita Purushena Cha. It's not too high for everybody. It's okay. Premananda Mahananda Rasena Vastitam Hiyat Jyoti Rupena Manuna Kama Bijena Sangatam Tatkinjalkam Tadam Shanam Tapatrani Shriyam Api Chatur Asram Tatparitaha Shweta Dipakyam Adbhutam Chatur Asram Chatur Murtesh Chatur Dhama Chatuskritam Chaturbhi Purushartaischa Chaturbhir Hetubhir Vratam Shulardasha Biranandham Urdvadho Diddhavikshapi Ashtabhir Nidibhir Jushtam Ashtabhi Siddhibhistata Manurupaishtadashabhir Dikpalai Parito Vratam Shamer Goraischa Raktaischa Shuklaischa Parshadarshabhai Shobitam Shakti Bistabir Adbhuta Bisamantata Evam Jyotirmayo Deva Sarananda Paratpara Atmaramastya Tasyasti Prakritya Nasamagama Mayaya Ramamanasya Naviyogastaya Saha Atmana Ramayare me Tyaktva Sashikshaya Niyati Sarama Devi Tapriya Tadvasham Tada Talingam Bhagavan Shampur Jyoti Rupa Sanatanaha Ya Yoni Sapara Shakti Kamo Bijam Mahaddare Linga Yonyatmika Jata Ima Maheshwari Praja Shaktiman Purushasoyam Linga Rupi Maheshwara Tasmin Avirabhu Linge Mahavishnu Jagatpati Sahasra Shirsha Purushaha Sahasraksha Sahasrapad Sahasrabahur Vishvatma Sahasramsha Sahasrasu Narayana Sabhagavan Apastasmat Sanatanat Avirasit Kararnarno Nidhi Sankarshanatmaka Yoga Nidram Katastasmin Sahasram Shaswayam Mahan Tad Broma Bilajaleshu Bijam Sankarshanasya Cha Haimanyandari Jatani Mahabhuta Vratani Tu Pratyandam Evamekam Shad Ekam Shad Vishati Swayam Sahasramurdha Vishvatma Mahavishnu Sanatanat Vaman Gadastrajad Vishnum Dakshinan Gat Prajapatim Jyotirlinga Mayam Shambhum Kurcha Deshad Avasrajat Ahankaratmakam Vishvam Tasmat Etad Vyajayata Atahtaistri Vidharvesher Lilam Udvahatakila Yoga Nidra Bhagavati Tasya Shrir Eva Sangata Shashikshayam Tato Nabhes Tasya Padmam Vaniryayao Tanalam Hemanalinam Brahmano Lokumadbhutam Tatvani Purvarudani Karanarni Parasparam Samavaya Prayogacha Vibinani Pratak Pratak Chitshakshascha Jamanota Bhagavan Adi Purushaha Yojayan Mayaya Devo Yoga Nidram Akalpayat Yojayitva Tutanyeva Pravivesha Swayam Guham Guham Pravishte Tasmimstu Jivatma Pratibhudyate Sanityo Nitya Sambandha Prakatishcha Paraivasa evam sarvatma sambandham nabhyam padmam harirabhut tatra brahmad bhavad bhuyash chaturvedi chaturmukha sanjato bhagavat shaktya tatkalam kilachoditaha sashikshayam matim chakre purvasamskara samskritaha tatarsha kevalam dvantam nanyat kim api sarvata uvacha puratastasmai tasya divya saraswati kama krishnaya govinda hey gopi janityapi vallabhaya priyahvaner mantram te dasyati priyam tapastam tapa etena tavasidhir bhavishyati atate pe sasuchiram prinan govindam avyayam Shveta Deepa Patim Krishnam Golokastam Paratparam Prakritya Gunarupinya Rupinya Paryupasitam Sahasradala Sambhande Kotikinjalka Brahmite Umishchintamanish Tatra Karnikare Mahasane Sammasinam Chidanandam Jyoti Rupam Sanatanam Shabda Brahma Mayam Venum Varayantam Mukham Bhuje Vilasani Ganavratam Swarshar Amshar Abhishtutam Ata Venun Naradasya Trayimurti Mayigati Spuranti Praviveshasu Mukhabjani Swayambhuvaha Gayatrim Gayatastasmad Adigatya Sarojajaha Samskritaschari gununa dvijatam agamatata Traya prabhutota vidhir vignata tatvasagara Tushtava vedasarena stotrenanena keshavam Chintamani prakarasadmasukalpa vriksha Laksha vriteshu surabira pipalayantam Lakshmi sahasra shata sambrama sevyamanam Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Venum kvanantam aravindam dalayataksham Bharhavatam samasitam buddhasundarangam Kandarpakoti kamaniya vishesha shobham Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Alola chandra kala sadvana valya vamshi Ratnangadam pranaya keli kala vilasam Shamam tribanga lalitam niyata prakasham Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Angani yassa sakalendriya vrittimanti Pashanti panti kalayanti chiram jaganti Ananda chinmaya sadujvala vigrahasya Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Advaitam achutam anadim anantarupam Adyam purana purusham navayauvanam cha Vedeshu durlamamamadurlamamabha bhaktau Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Pantastu koti shatavarsara sambragamyo Vayoratapi manaso munipungavanam Sopyasti yapraparasimya vichintya tatve Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Ekaupyasaura charitum jagadanda kotim Yat shakti rasti jagadanda chayaya danta Andantarasta paramana chayantarastam Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Yadbhava bhavitadiyo manudastataiva Samprapya rupa mahima shayanana bhusha Suktarayameva nigama pratitaistuvanti Govindamari purusham tamaham bhajami Ananda chinmarasa pratibhavitabhis Tabirya eva nijarupataya kalabhi Goloka eva nivasatya kilatma bhuto Govindamari purusham tamaham bhajami Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena Santaksa deva hridayeshi vilokayanti Yam shama sundaram achintya gunasarupam Govindamari purusham tamaham bhajami Ramadi muti shikalani amena tishtan Nanavataram akaro bhuvanesha kintu Krishna swayam samabhavat paramapumanyo Govindamari purusham tamaham bhajami Yasya prabha prabhapato jagadanda koti Koti shrishesha vasudari vibhuti bindam Tad brahma nishkalam anantam ashesha bhutam Govindamari purusham tamaham bhajami Maya hiyasya jagadanda shatani sute Traigunya tad vishaya veda vitayamana Sattva-valambi parasattvam vishuddha sattvam Govindamari purusham tamaham bhajami Ananda chinmaya rasatmataya manasu Yapraninam pratipalam smarutam upetya Lilayatenu bhuvanani chayatya jastram Govindamari purusham tamaham bhajami Golokanamni nijadamni chaleta tasya Devi mahesha haridama suteshu teshu Te te prabhava nichaya vihitascha yena Govindamari purusham tamaham bhajami Shristi stiti pralaya sarana shakti rekha Chayeva yasya bhuvanani viparti durga Ichchanu rupam apiyasya chicheshta tesa Govindamari purusham tamaham bhajami Shiram yatar didvikara vishesha yogad Sanjayate nahitata pradagasti heto Yasham bhutam apitatasam upaiti karyad Govindamari purusham tamaham bhajami Departure eva hirashandanamabhyapetya Dipayate vrvata hetu samana dharma Yastadrageva hicha vishnu chaya vibhati Govindamari purusham tamaham bhajami Yat Karunarna bhajale bhajati sma yoga Nidramananta jagaranda saromakupaha Adhara shaktim avalambya param samurtim Govindamari purusham tamaham bhajami Yasyaika nishvasita kalamatavalamya Jivanti loma vilaja jagadandanata Vishnor mahansa ihayasya kala vishesho Govindamari purusham tamaham bhajami Bhasvanyatasma sakaleshna deshiteja Swiyam kiya prakatayata vitadvadatra Brahmaya esha jagadanda vidhana karta Govindamari purusham tamaham bhajami Yat pada pallava yugam vinidaya kumbha Dvande pranama samaye saganadi rajaha Vignan vidhantum alamasya jagatrayasya Govindamari Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Agnirmahi Ganganamam Mumurujishascha Kalastatatma Manasiti Jagatrayani Yasmad Bhavanti Vishanti Yamcha Govindamari Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Yachakshare Savita Sakalagrahanam Raja Samasta Suramuti Rashesha Tejaha Yasyagnaya Brahmati Sambratakala Chakro Govindamari Purusham Dhamaham Bhajami. Dharmo Tapapanishaya Shrutayastapamsi Brahmadikita Patagavadayascha Jivaha Yadatra Matra Vibhava Prakatha Prabhava Govindamari Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Yastvindra Gopam Atavendra Mahosa Karma Bandhana Rupa Palabhajana Matanoti Karmani Nirdahati Kintu Chapakti Bhajam Govindamari Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Yam Krodha Kama Sahaja Pranayadi Piti Vatsalya Moha Guru Gaurava Sevya Bhavai Sanchintya Tassa Sadrishim Taramapurete Govindamari Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Govindamari Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Sri Akanta Kanta Parama Purusha Kalpataravo Druma Bhumishchintamani Gharamai Toyamamratam Katha Ganam Datyam Gharamam Api Vamshi Priyasaki Chiranandam Jyoti Paramapi Taraswadyam Api Cha Sayatra Shiradhi Sravati Surabhibhya Shusumahan Nimeshardhyakyo Vavrajati Nahi Atrapi Samayaha Vaje Shveta Dvipam Tamaham Iha Golokamitiyam Vidantaste Shantakshiti Viralachara Katipaye Ato Vacha Mahavishnur Bhagavantam Prajapatim Brahman Mahavignane Prajasarge Chachinmati Panchashlokimimam vidyam vatsatatvam nibodame Prabhude jnana bhakti vyam mayananda chinmayi Udet unitama bhaktir bhagava prema lakshana Pramanaistat saracharaistatabhyase nirantaram Bodhayanatmanatmanam bhakti mapyutamam labed Yasya shreyaskaram nasti yaya nivritum apnuyad Yasadayati mameva bhaktim tameva sadayed Dharma manyan parityaja mamekam bhaja vishwasan Yadrishi adrishi shraddha sadhir bhavati tadrishi Kurvan nirantaram karma loko yam manavartate Tenaiva karamana dhyayam param bhaktimichyati Aham hi vishwasya characharasya bijam pradhanam prakriti pumamsha Maya hitam teja idam bibarshi vide videhi tomato jaganti Ishvara parama Krishna sakchirananda vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam Iti Sri Brahma Sangita Sampurnam Hari Om. Coda. Where's Srivatsa? You get a microphone. Help me sing this song, please. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. What's Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. You got to help me out on this. Give me a good starting place. Boro sukar kabe gai, boro sukar kabar gai. Kabar gai. Is that a good starting point? Surabi kunjete namir hat kuleche. Okay.
Surabhi kunjete namer hat kuleche. Kunjete namer hat kuleche.
Surabhi kunjete namer hat kuleche.
Kodhanitai, kodhanitai, kodhanitai.
Kodhanitai, Kodhanitai. Together.
Kodhanitai, kodhanitai.
Boromojar Kathatai, Boromojar Kathatai.
Boromojar Kathatai,
Boromojar Kathatai. Sing along.
Boromojar Kathatai,
Boromojar Kathatai, Boromojar Kathatai. Shraddha Mulye Shraddhanam Sehate Bikai. Shraddha Mulye Shraddhanam Sehate Bikai.
Kodhanitai,
Kodhanitai.
Kodhanitai, kodhanitai.
Kodhanitai, Kodhanitai. Jata Bhakta Vrindavasi,
Jata Bhakta Vrindavasi,
Vrindavasi,
Jata Bhakta Vrindavasi.
Jata Bhakta Vrindavasi, Jata Bhakta Vrindavasi. Adhikari dekhe naam beche daro kasi. Adhikari dekhe naam beche daro kasi.
Kodhanitai, kodhanitai,
Kodhanitai, Kodhanitai,
kodhanitai, kodhanitai.
Jaranama kimbe bhai, jadi nama kimbe bhai.
Kinbe bhai, jadi nam kinbe bhai.
Jadi nama kimbe bhai, jadi nama kimbe bhai. আমার সঙ্গে চলো মহাজনের কাছে যাই আমার সঙ্গে চলো মহাজনের কাছে যাই কোরআনিতায় কোরআনিতায় Kodanitai, Kodanitai. Tumi kimbe Krishna nam, tumi kimbe Krishna nam. Tumi kimbe Krishna nam, tumi kimbe Krishna nam. Dasturi loibe ami purna habe khan Dasturi loibo ami purna habe khan Kodanitai, Kodanitai Kodanitai, Kodanitai. Borodoyal Nityananda, Borodoyal Nityananda. Borodoyal Nityananda, Borodoyal Nityananda. Shraddha matra loye den Paramananda Shraddha matre loye den Paramananda Kodanitai, Kodanitai Kodanitai, Kodanitai. एक बार देख ले चक्षे जल एक बार देख ले चक्षे जल
चक्षे जल
एक बार देख ले चक्षे जल एक बार देख ले चक्षे जल Gora bole nitai den sakala sambhai
Gora bole nitai den sak
Gora bole nitai den sakala sambhai Kodanitai, Kodanitai Kodanitai, Kodanitai. Den Shuddha Krishna Shikha, Den Shuddha Krishna Shikha. Den Shuddha Krishna Shikha, Den Shuddha Krishna Shikha. Jati Dana Vidya Bala na kore apeka
Jati Dan Vidya Bala
Jati Dana Vidya Bala na kore apeka Kodanitai, Kodanitai
Kodanitai, Kodanitai.
Amin chade maya jal, amani chade maya jal. Amani chade maya jal, amani chade maya jal. Grihe tako bane tako nata ke janjal. Grihe tako bane tako nata ke janjal. Kodanitai, Kodanitai. Kodanitai, Kodanitai. Aranaiko kalir boy, Aranaiko kalir boy. Aranaiko kalir boy, Aranaiko kalir boy. Achandale den na nitai doyamoy. Achandale den na nitai doyamoy. Kodanitai, Kodanitai.
Kodanitai, Kodanitai.
Kodanitai, Kodanitai. Bhakti Vinod
Kikai,
Bhakti Vinod Hakikai. Bhakti Vinoda Dhakikoi, Bhakti Vinoda Dhakikoi. Nitai Charan Vine Ar Nahe Ashray. Nitai Charan Vine Ar Nahe Ashray. Kodanitai, Kodanitai. Kodanitai, Kodanitai. Boro Sukar Kabargai, Boro Sukar Kabargai.
Boro Sukar Kabargai, Boro Sukar Kabargai.
Boro Sukar Kabargai, Boro Sukar Kabargai. Surabhi kunje te namer hat kuleche.
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 Kodanitai,
Kodanitai. Kodanitai, Kodanitai.
Kodanitai, Kodanitai. Jaya Bhakti Vinod, Bhakti Vinod, Bhakti Vinod, Jaya Bhakti Vinod. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Translation, please. I'm singing news of great happy tidings. I'm singing news of great happy tidings. Lord Nityananda himself has opened a marketplace of the holy name in Surabhi Kunj. The news of its great results is that he is selling the pure holy name in that marketplace for the price of only one's faith. Lord Nityananda, the proprietor of the market, seeing all the devotees become attracted, is selling them the holy name after bargaining with them. Oh brother, if you want to buy the holy name, then go with me. We must go to the presence of that great soul, Nityananda. You will buy the name of Krishna. I will take my commission, and all of our desires will be fulfilled. Lord Nityananda is greatly merciful, taking only one's faith. He gives the highest ecstasy. If Nitai sees only once tears in the eyes while chanting the name Gora, then he gives all resources to that person. He gives the pure teachings of Krishna to everyone and does not care for one's birth, wealth, knowledge, and strength. Now, giving up the illusory snare of Maya, either remain in household life or in the forest as a sannyasi, for no more troubles remain. There is no more fear of the age of Kali. The merciful Nityananda gives the holy name to even the Chandalas. Bhaktivinoda calls out, except for the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda, there is no other shelter. Go Premanande, Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo. I think it's a sharp. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Giri Varadhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Giri Varadhari. Jaya Jashodanandana Jaya Vraja Janaranjana. Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Vraja Janaranjana. Jaya Jamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Jamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Jamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Vraja Jana Ranjana Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudiraye Shushusho Shradhanasya Vasudeva Kataruchi Syan Mahat Sevaya Vipra Punish Tirtan Nishevana Shinvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridyantaksto Hyabhadrani Vidunoti Suhritsatam Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavat Yutamoshloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Tadarajastamo Bhava Kabala Badayaschaye Cheteranavid Chetas Chetar etad vidam stitir statve prasidati evam prasanna manaso bhagavad bhakti yogataha Bhagavat Tattva Vijnanam Muktasangasya Jayate Vidyate Hridaya Grantish Chidyante Sarva Samshaya Shyante Chasya Karamani Shrishtavat Manishvare Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, 10:51:53, 10:51:53. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. 10:51:53. Bhava Pavargo. Can it go any larger? Or are my eyes just getting worse? Bhava Pavargo Brahmato Yada Bhavaj. Thank you so much. Bhava Pavargo Brahmato Yata Bhavaj. Janasya tar hyachuta sat samagamaha. Sat sangamo yarhita daiva satgatao. Paravareshe tvai jayate mati. Bhava pavargo brahmato yata bhavej. Janasya tarhya chuta sat samagamaha. Sat sangamo yarhita daiva satgatao. Paravareshe tvai jayate mati. Bhava pavargo brahmato yata bhavesh. Janasya tarhya chuta sat samagama. Sat sangamo yarhita daiva sadgatao. Paravareshe tvai jayate mati. Yeah, please, let's have a few chanters. Go. Go. Bhava pavargo brahmato yata bhavesh.
Janasya tarya chuta satgam samagamaha.
Janasya tarhya chuta sat samagama.
Satsangamo yarhita daiva sadgatao.
Satsangamo yarhita daiva satgatao.
Paravareshe tvai jayate matihi.
Paravareshe tvai jayate matihi. Bhava pavargo brahmato yata bhavesh.
Janasya tarhyachuta sat samagamaha.
Janasya tarhya chuta sat samagama.
Satsangamo yarhita daiva sadgatau.
Satsangamo yarhita daiva sadgatau.
Paravareshe tvai jayate matihi.
Paravareshe tvai jayate mati.
Bhava pavargo brahmato yata bhavesh.
Bhava pavargo brahmato yata bhavesh.
Janasya Tayachyuta Satsamagama
Janasya Tarhyachyuta Satsamagama
Satsangamaya Hitadeva Sadgata
Satsangamo Yarhita Daiva Sadgatao
Varavareshe Tvayi Jayate Mati
Varavareshe Toya Jayate Mati.
Bhava Pavargo Brahmato Yata Bhavij
Bhava Pavargo Brahmato Yata Bhavesh
Janasya Tarhi Achyuta Satsamagama
Janasya Tarhyachyuta Satsamagama
Satsangamoya Hitadeva Sadgata
Gamo Yarhita Daiva Sadgatao
Varavarishe Tvayi Jayate Mati
Varavareshe Tvayi Jayate Mati. Bhava, of material existence. Apavarga, the cessation. Brahmataha, who has been wandering. Yada, when. Bhaved, occurs. Janasya, for a person. Tarhi, at that time. Achyuta, O infallible Lord. So bhava, apavarga. So bhava and apavarga are juxtaposed because this is a verse about how one comes to the end of bhava. Bhava means the ocean of material existence through which we suffer birth, death, old age, and disease. And apavarga is the reverse process. Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. You're just being Italian. Bhava, apavarga, means that, we're in bhava, but we come to apavarga. This is a great relief just hearing these two words, because pavarga stands for pa, ma, which means, pa means that if you're in the material world, you have to work very hard. In fact, Prabhupada was saying recently that devotees don't work. They just do devotional service. And Krishna supplies everything. He said, we're practicing for the spiritual world because there nobody works. Krishna has bare feet and a flute. Can't get a job that way. So how hard do you have to work? You have to work so hard that foam comes from your mouth. It's like, have I worked hard enough? No, work harder. A little harder. Ba means that there's defeat, even after you work so hard. Then the honey badger comes. You know the honey badger? He's specifically designed to steal all the honey that the bees work so hard for. You see all the bees working hard? They go to every flower, work all day long. You tell them, take a break. They go, can't take a break. I have to serve the queen. So the bee keeps going all day long. Sometimes they drop dead just out of, they just wear out. The warranty's gone. And it's I'd like to work, but I can't. And then they build up this big honeycomb, and a honey badger comes, and he sticks his big snout in there and he eats the whole thing. And all the bees are going, oh, so much for our hard work. So this is the defeat that comes after working so hard in the material world. And then bhayam means fear. Everyone's fearful all the time. Even though I'm getting something, I'm still thinking, like, when's honey badger coming? Is that the honey badger? I heard a noise. Is that him? And then ma, at the end, death, mrityu, which comes at any time. No guarantee, no warning. Along with, as my godbrother once told me, there are several entities that come unannounced, unwelcome and unannounced. There's mosquitoes. You don't see them coming. They just, ow, okay, maybe I have malaria. And mosquitoes, monkeys. La-di-da-di-da. They take your glasses. Even if you're ready for it, they sneak up. They're so tricky. They jump down. They pull your glasses off. And death comes without warning. And when you're least expecting it, it's boom. So, bhayam, then mrityu. So that's pavarga. And then apavarga means the cessation. It's over. So bhava, apavarga, it's two nice words together. It means there's relief from the bhava. And brahmataha, those who are wandering in bhava, they're moving about by the force of material consciousness. And they have to take one birth after another. Yada, however, when, bhavet, something happens for the janasya, for the person. Something happens to make apavarga available to that person. Tarhi at that time. Achyuta, O infallible Lord. Sat, so now we come into the cause. Sat, of saintly persons, samagama, the association. Sat samagama. Sat samagama, saintly association, yarhi, when, tada, then. Eva, only. So this is important, this word eva means only. Only at this time, when one gets association with saints, does one get the opportunity for apavarga. Only at that time. Sat, of saintly persons, gatau, who is the goal, para, of the superior, the causes of material creation, avara, and inferior, their products, ishe. For the Supreme Lord, tvai, yourself, jayate, is born, mati, devotion. Translation is, and you'll notice it's a very interesting translation, and there's a reason for the seemingly reversed meaning of this verse, and it'll be explained in the purport. When the material life of a wandering soul has ceased, O Achyuta, he may attain the association of your devotees. And when he associates with them, there awakens in him devotion unto you, who are the goal of the devotees and the Lord of all causes of their effects. Let's say together, when the material life of a wandering soul has ceased, O Achyuta, he may attain the association of your devotees. And when he associates with them, there awakens in him devotion unto you, who are the goal of the devotees and the Lord of all causes and their effects. Purport by the servants of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Acharyas Jiva Goswami and Vishwanath Chakravarti agree on the following point. Although it is stated here that when material life ceases, one attains the association of devotees. In fact, it is the association of the Lord's devotees that enables one to transcend material existence. Srila Jiva Goswami explains this apparent inversion of sequence by quoting the Kavya Prakash as follows. Srivata, sing the Sanskrit. Sing it, please.
Karya karanayoshtra paurva parya viparyayo vigya tishayokti syatsa.
A statement in which the logical order of a cause and its effect is reversed should be understood as atishayokti, emphasis by extreme assertion. Srila Jiva Goswami cites the following commentary on this statement. Karmanasya shigra kartitam vaktum karyasya purvam uktau. To express the swift action of a cause, one may assert the result before the cause. In this connection, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur points out that the merciful association of the Lord's devotees makes possible our determination to become Krishna conscious. And the Acharya agrees with Srila Jiva Goswami that this verse is an instance of Ati Shayokti. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Miditam Nena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Nitai namineche namerhate shadamulyenam dite chere. Hate. I don't think you all got the clap down. Nitai namineche namerhate shadamulyenam dite chere. We'll try it again. Wait, just so. Nitai namineche namerhate shadamulyenam dite chere. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this bhava is caused by the part and parcel of Krishna being vimukti. He's vimukha cetasa. He's turning his attention away from Krishna. Bhayam dvitiya abhinibeshita syad. Ishad ape tasya viparya yosmiti. It means that I get in a reversed position in life. And instead of looking towards the object of my worship and my good fortune, my origin, my beloved, I'm looking away. And this causes all the problems. That helps because that simplified explanation, without any extra embellishment, means that there's a solution. What is the solution then? If looking away from Krishna in the wrong direction causes the problem, what's the solution? Huh? Any engineers in here? Let's get it. Somebody take the mic and explain it. You're not an engineer? Okay, this requires an engineer. Somebody as an engineer, explain it. If looking away is the problem, then?
Hare Krishna.
Let's say it again so everyone can hear.
So if looking away is the problem, you look at Krishna then to solve the problem.
The end. Finished. Class over. Tanmayatam Buddha abhajetam bhaktyayake yesham guru devatatma. So the verse goes on. Kavi Havi Yogendra says that now the solution is that turn your attention back to Krishna. And he says, do it through the Vaishnav, through the Guru. You find a Guru Vaishnav who's attached to Krishna or is attached to another Vaishnav, and then give your full attention, and then your problem's solved. Then bhava becomes apavarga. And in this verse, this is a verse by Muchakunda. He's so emphatic about this point. And by the way, this is a verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam quoted by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Sanatana Goswami when he's describing to him how one gets out of the material world. He's giving this explanation about how the souls are wandering in the material world and how one must meet a devotee doctor, Vaidya, Vaishnava Vaidya, who brings hymns and instructions. And he explains, Maya Mugda Jivana Nahi Swata Krishna Gyan. It's not automatic that the soul comes out of the material existence. And also, it can't be attained by jnana. One speculates to try to understand the Supreme Lord. Then Shreya Shritim Bhakti Mudasite Vibo Kushanti Kevala Bodhalabde Te Shamasau Kleshala Eva Shishyate Nanyad Yatastula Tushava Gatinam. Brahma in his prayers, after having tried to understand Krishna by his intelligence and doing a double-blind study by stealing away his cowherd boys and calves and seeing what will happen now, then he saw Krishna's potency and he surrendered to Krishna. And he spoke in this verse that if somebody tries to use his or her intelligence to understand Krishna and gives up the path of bhakti, then that person is like one who takes the empty husk of grains and beats on it, beating over and over again. You don't get any result. Similarly, the path of the karmis is not fruitful ultimately in understanding Krishna. Any of the paths, including yoga, karma, jnana, are not effective unless there's at least a trace of bhakti. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu states this to Srila Sanatana Goswami. The only reason any of those seem successful at some point is because there was some bhakti mixed in there somewhere. And similarly, as mentioned in the 5th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, there's a way in which sometimes we see that karmis are karmis, bona fide karmis, that is, karmis who perform karmakanda. They do Vedic sacrifices for elevation. They sometimes get fortunate because around the sacrifice, sometimes they'll meet a devotee, a Vaishnav, and then their devotional life begins. In all cases, bhakti is the ultimate process. It's not just the ultimate process, it's the ingredient within any of the other processes that allows them to be successful. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in emphasizing this point to Srila Sanatana Goswami, says that one has to come into the association of Vaishnavas. And why is that? Because the Vaishnavas carry Krishna within their heart. As is mentioned that Krishna is not in Vaikuntha. He's in the association of the devotees. Look up that verse. Get the green book. Look at it. He says that I'm not present anywhere except for where the devotees are hearing and chanting about me, chanting my glories. Then I appear. And this is the preoccupation of the pure devotees. They're always hearing and chanting, singing about Krishna. Yes.
Guru Maharaj, could you explain the difference in the concept of receiving association versus taking association? In the sense that you may meet a Vaishnav almost every day and still not be able to take their association. What would be that gap, Guru Maharaj?
It has to do with our motive. Could everyone hear what she asked? Okay. It has to do with our motive when we go to a Vaishnav. We should try to get the association and the blessings of the Vaishnav. If we go there to get knowledge, I want knowledge. Why do I want knowledge? Because then I'll be more powerful. Because I found out something. Or if I go there for entertainment, that I'll hear maybe some interesting or funny stories. And, it's at least as good as going to the movies tonight. We should go see this person. If our motivation is like that, then it's not as likely that we'll be deeply affected by the association of a sadhu. Nonetheless, we find that even though those who are not so serious associate with Vaishnavas, they still get the ultimate benefit from that association. Let's give a couple examples. Nalakuvera and Manigriva were having a big party, and they had all the requisites for a mundane Kali Yuga party, which were alcoholic beverages and lots of young girls, and they were hanging out in the pool, and they were all just having a big old regular party. Intoxication and mingling and laughing and ha ha ha. Which doesn't always end well. I always remember one day I was walking in Govardhan, around Govardhan Hill by myself. It was kind of a foggy day. And I saw this family come by on a flatbed rickshaw, and I could hear them coming by. It was a ruckus, actually, sort of disturbing to the mood of walking around Govardhan, because they were laughing, ha ha ha, he. And as they passed me, I kind of looked up from my japa, and I saw the reason they were laughing was the rickshawwala wasn't driving. It was the father of the family. And everybody else was sitting on the rickshaw, and the rickshawwala was running behind. And that was apparently hilariously funny. And so I looked back down again and, just tried to stay absorbed. And I heard ha ha ha, ho ho ho. And then all of a sudden it just stopped, just very suddenly. And then I heard kind of wailing instead. And I looked up and I didn't see the rickshaw anymore. I don't know if you know the section that goes right from, as you're heading towards Radhakunda, just past Uddhavakunda, there's some embankments that go down from the road, rather steep, and a lot of times it's not so nice down there. There's sticker bushes and lots of other things that I won't mention. And then the rickshaw went over the cliff, and they all went rolling, tumbling down, and then ha ha ha, he turned into ah. And that was one of the impressions that was left in my mind as I walked past that, about here's the material world. It's all fun and games until somebody gets hurt. And then, we realized, this is this sober nature of this world, or the daunting nature that makes us sober. And so Nalakuvera Manigriva were ha ha ha, he. And the girls, when they saw Narada, they recognized a Vaishnava. So they put on their clothes really fast and they got really serious. And Nalakuvera Manigriva had been spoiled. After all, they came from the richest family in the universe. Kuvera, the treasurer. And so they just like, hey, what happened to the party? Where's the music? What are you guys doing? And when they saw Narada, they're kind of like, hey man, come on. What happened to our party? Get with the mood here. And Narada could see that they were wholly spoiled, but because he's a sadhu, he cursed them that you become trees, because you like to stand naked. And then he added on, as Vaishnavas do, that after being Arjuna trees for 1,000 years, then you'll meet Krishna. He'll pull you out of that situation and you'll get direct darshan. They also got to witness what was happening in Nanda Maharaj's courtyard, even as trees. So there's a benediction that comes from a Vaishnav. And then you'll notice also with Jad Bharat, he was originally Bharat Maharaj, who had become distracted by a deer. He could have called the SPCA, but instead he took the deer in and he nurtured it, and then he became fully absorbed in the deer. It can happen. Someone can have preliminary emotions for Krishna and then suddenly divert them into something or someone else, and that same intensity that they had developed then becomes derailed and then invested in something that's not a worthy object of affection. So then he took birth as a deer. He became very serious as a deer and started to practice Ashtanga Yoga, where he was before in Pulastya Ashram. And then in his next life, he became the famous Jad Bharat. And he wanted nothing to do with the material world, very much like Shukadev Goswami from the very beginning of life. he eschewed any kind of association with his family, acted like he was deaf and dumb. So near the end of that pastime, we find that he's wandering as an enlightened being, as a pure devotee, and he meets King Rahugana. And Rahugana is on his palanquin and is missing a man to carry. There's 4 people required, right? There's 4 poles, 2 poles, 2 people in front and 2 people in back to carry the king along. And one of them was not feeling well, so he had to take a day off. They needed another carrier. So they were looking around and the crowd, and they saw Jad Bharat. He was very strong, well built. They said, you, over here, come carry this. And he had no particular place to go, and he was submissive to what anybody said, so he just picked it up and carried it. However, he could not walk in a straight line because he noticed there were living entities on the ground as he was walking, like ants. And so he tried to avoid them. And you have to carry the palanquin very carefully, otherwise it jostles the rider. So as he was missing the ants, he was also simultaneously jostling the king. And just, hey, come on, carry it straight. Who's doing that? And they're all... and then finally, he kept doing it, did Jad Bharat. So the king, all right, stop it right there. Put me down. He gets down off the palanquin. He goes over. What are you, not strong enough? What are you, a weakling? He could see that he was very strong. What's your problem? And he was hurling insults at Jad Bharat. And Jad Bharat finally, after waiting for some time, said, well, you're insulting, you think you're insulting me, but you're just talking about my body. I'm neither fat nor skinny. I'm not old or young. I'm not strong or weak because I'm not the body. And King Rahugana then paid his obeisances because he realized, oops, I made a mistake. I said harsh words to somebody who's saintly. And even though he had approached him in the wrong way, he had then realized his mistake and become a sincere inquirer. So much so is mentioned in the 5th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, where the story appears. Rahuganai tapasana yatina chejaya nirvapanad grihadva dachandasa jagni nachandasa. Say the next word. I can't hear through. Now, nachandasa naiva jalagni suryer vina mahat padarajobhishekam. Thank you. So there's a way in which he describes what we're talking about today. It does this process of devotional service is dependent on getting the association of pure devotees. And the other processes, he goes to great lengths, or some lengths, to summarize the various ways in which one may try to become perfect on one's own. So he talks about how Rahuganai tapasa, there may be different kinds of austerities that you can perform. But he said that won't help, just doing austerities. The chejaya, which nachejaya means? Huh? Yeah, so you can be brahmachari, nirvapanad, you can take sannyas. The chandasa, nirvapanad, grihadva, or you can be the perfect grihasta. Jalagni suryer. You can sit in water up to your neck. This is one of the austerities. Very cold, freezing cold, and you go in up to your neck in water, so you try to overcome dualities. Same thing with the fire. In the hot sun, sometimes people sit in a ring of fire, and then they try to overcome duality and break through to the other side. The chandasa means a brahmachari. You can be celibate. The person's celibate. We saw at Srivasangam when there was this very pure brahmachari. He only drank milk, celibate. And he came, and Srila said, well, maybe it's okay if you come in. Because Mahaprabhu said only intimate devotees can come in here. Those who have, intimate means those who have this rare element, the bhakti, devotion. How rare is it? The Bhagavatam says, Muktanam api siddhanam narayana parayana sudulabha prashantasya koti shvapi mahamune. That's actually, there are 90 million demigods, they're all devotees, and 70 million sages. Did you know that? There are 90 million demigods and 70 million sages. But out of all of them, what's that, 90? That's 16 million devotees. There's only a few Narayana Parayana. Narayanayana. All of them are known as Narayanayana. They're devoted to Narayan, but Narayana Parayana is only a few. So he says, it's very rare. Sadulabha Prashantatma, very rare that you find a Narayana Parayana. And so the Narayana Parayana is the one who gives that bhakti to others. And so if you find one, then you should take abhishek, which means that you get all the dust from, find a pure devotee, gather up the dust, and you take it home and place it in your water tank. Right? No, that's not what it means. It means that you should approach with a mood of surrender and submission and inquiry, and try to get the association and emulate the behavior. And it also means to follow in the footsteps of such a person. This is the process through which anyone can make advancement, is to find somebody who's in the line of pure devotional service and then sign up for it. It's like, I'm signing on. And then by following in the footsteps of pure devotees, Tvayam bhujaksha kila satvadamni samadhi naveshiti chetasaike twat padapotena mahakritena kurvanti govatsa padam bhavabdim. The demigods praying to Lord Krishna within the womb say that Krishna, who's the source of all material spiritual worlds, should be meditated upon exclusively. And the way to do this, twat padapotena mahakritena, is to find the great souls who have a process to do this, and then follow them. And if you do that, then you can cross over the ocean of material existence very easily. Because although Krishna is everywhere, just like electricity is everywhere, you still have to have an arrangement in order to utilize electricity. Right? You need a switch. It means there has to be a wire somewhere. Otherwise, you're just like, where's the electricity? Benjamin Franklin figured that out. Flying a kite, electricity came down through the kite string. And he came up with some ideas about how to channel the electricity. So Krishna is there. You're sitting on him right now because he's non-different from all the elements and the floor. But how we actually come to see Krishna directly, you have to have a channel. So, Twatpada Potena Mahatkritena, who is the channel? What's the wire? It's the devotees of the Lord. And those who are established in the mood of pure devotional service. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, this is the means. Our problem of being disoriented, looking away from Krishna, becomes solved when we come into the association of pure devotees. And just by being with them, because they carry Krishna within in their hearts, then we also get what's called a spurti. Come from the word spot, which means like an explosion. So in the association of Vaishnavas, we'll also have an experience that, oh, Krishna is real. I can feel his presence, but we feel it through the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. So this is how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained to Sanatana Goswami the way in which one comes out of the material world and also makes advancement in devotional service and comes to the ultimate stage of life is by the association of Vaishnavas. And now we'll take some reflections or questions.
Guru Maharaj, you were talking about the 90 million and 70 million devotees, and I was thinking that even in heaven, even in Swarga, they are getting the association of the Vaishnavas. Narada visits, and I'm sure there are more who come and go. We always consider that being in the Martya Loka is the best place because that's from the point from which we can transcend. And everybody has to return here before they should go back home, back to Godhead. When we look at this list of so many devotees who are practicing Krishna consciousness, and there are just so very few who have purified themselves to the point of being called pure devotees, how do we approach the process of Krishna consciousness? Do we approach it with an attitude like, yeah, it's going to take a few lifetimes, I'm going to see these people again and again, and I will perfect myself? Or do we approach it with the sense of, well, this is my one opportunity and I squeeze the best out of it. And well, if I have to come back, I have to come back. So what would be the right approach?
Both at the same time. So just like we say, in one lifetime, you'll go back to God. One lifetime, you'll go back to Godhead. I say, in one lifetime, you go back to Godhead. So we're thinking, in one lifetime, go back to Godhead. It's really a matter of becoming devoted to Krishna, because those who are actually in the process to such a degree that they're experiencing Krishna's presence, they're not so concerned with going back to Godhead even. Na dhanam na sundarim kavitam va jagadisha kamaye mama janmani janmanishvare bhavatad bhakti rahaitu kitwai. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu expresses this mood in the Shikshashtakam that birth after birth, I just want to be your devotee. I don't care about anything else. I don't even want liberation. Kapila Dev says to Devahuti that my devotees don't care about these various kinds of liberation, which he mentions. There's Salokya, Samipya, Sharshti, living on the same planet. Some devotees say, I just want to be on that planet. It's not that I don't even have to be in the same town. As long as I'm on Krishna's planet, I'm good. Others, they want a liberation, a spiritual body, or they want to be associated with Krishna every day. None of these is bad. But the mood of pure devotion is so powerful that the devotee feels that wherever I am right now, as long as I'm engaged in your service, I'm happy. You know, when Lord Brahma had tested Krishna and found out what his potency was, and he became so devoted to him, and he bowed down to him, and Krishna didn't say a word. He didn't answer. And Brahma realized what he was indicating, which was that I'm not qualified to be here in Vrindavan. And then he thought, I'll have better association back in my own abode, doing my service. And so the devotee thinks like that too. You don't have to be in Goloka Vrindavan. In fact, some great devotees are thinking, I don't belong here. Just let me have a partial incarnation here as a clump of grass somewhere near the border along the footpath, and then if some dust from the devotees actually lands on my head, then I'm okay. And then I'm not just okay, that's like the perfection of my life, but they're not thinking I have to be in the front row. Otherwise, give me a break. I have to be in Madhurya Ras. Otherwise, what's this thing about? But even with the slight awakening of this sense of pure devotional service, the devotee is so satisfied and simultaneously hankering for more, that he or she feels that, let me just be here and be a humble servant. And I don't care anything else. That's how a tasty devotional service is. We hear about how it's, you take all the material happiness, get everything, every material happiness, name 3 great sources of happiness in the material world. Money, okay, got money, food, huh? Fame, money, food, and fame, okay. So you take all the money, all the food, all the fame. Who are the most famous people? The fame of Jeff Bezos? I never even heard of him. Okay, so, and then, all right, so these, take all the famous people, all the fame, everything, and you put it in a syringe. And you just like, and inject it. Will you be happy? Add in all the other material happiness. And whatever material happiness there is or ever was in the material world, you put it in one syringe and you inject it. And then, are you happy? No. But if you get one tiny drop of this feeling of devotional service that we inherit, that we get by serving a pure devotee, then we don't care. Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitam bhajage. What everybody else is looking for. Tyaktva sadusyada sarepshita raja lakshmi. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu described, everybody's looking for Lakshmi. It's like, please, you can stay in my house. Little decorations around, Lakshmis everywhere. You come on. And it's like, we'll do anything, whatever you want. Just please stay here. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Tyaktva sadusyada sarepshita raja lakshmi. And he just walked away from it all. Because he was like, I'm going to go find Krishna and chase after Krishna. Mayamrgam dayite ipsitam vadavad. So this is what Rupa Goswami describes, the gradations of happiness in the material world. There's material happiness, which is no happiness at all. There's a great sage who is known to have been aware of his lifetimes, every lifetime he could recall. See, this is a mystic power you can get, as Patanjali Muni describes in the Yoga Sutras. When the chitta becomes clear through meditation, it's like looking into a pond that has no ripples or any other obstruction, and you can see all the details at the bottom, like rocks, pebbles, everything, very clear. Those of you who've been to mountain streams or mountain lake, you just wow, that's what water looks like when it's nice. And you see everything there. You can see every pebble's like a lifetime. I remember that one. I remember this one. I worked for UPS, and then I was whatever it was. Got my head shot off in the war. That one, this one, and so he remembered his lifetimes for several kalpas. In other words, the 311 trillion years went by. The Brahma. Everyone absorbed, comes back out again, and then what? Yeah. So someone wanted to interview him, so he came. He said, "So, please tell us, in all your lifetimes, you can see them all, because you're always situated in Sattva Gun, perfectly in Sattva Gun, through your practice of meditation. So, did you have more happiness or more distress?" And the sage said, "I've never had any happiness." He said, "But you've been through, you're in Sattva Gun. You've been to every heavenly planet." And he said, I've only seen suffering in the material world. There's no happiness at all. And this is what Rupa Goswami says when he's describing the gradations of happiness. Material happiness is a misnomer. There is no happiness in the material world. I asked Satyadev Prabhu once. He should know. He was a paramedic for 20 years. We were walking downtown San Francisco. I think it was during one of our extravaganzas after Thanksgiving. and the huge crowds. And I asked him, I said, look, everyone's looking for happiness here. And he goes, actually, they're all trying to avoid distress. And that's the material world. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said it's like a dunking board. You're on the board, you get dunked in the water, and they let you up for a second, and so you get, and then you go like, oh, that's happiness. So that's no happiness at all. Above that is the happiness of Brahmananda. Experiencing that nashochati nakangshati, no more hankering, no more lamentation, and not being poked over and over again. Take this, take that. And I'm not envious of the living entities anymore. That's a great source of distress. Like, I have so much money, I have nice everything, and I see somebody else, I go, well, why don't I have that? How come they have a better one? And so why are they a little smarter than me? And so I can't even appreciate what I have because I'm totally envious. But samak sarvishu bhuteshu, the person who comes to this Brahman happiness, they're not jammed anymore by all these things. No more icha dvesha, samutena. Everyone's born into this ocean of hankering and desire and being averse to other people. And it's like there's a little bug. You see people do that all the time. Kill him. It's like, why'd you kill him? He has a household too. You know, he's on his way to work. And he's a little guy who got a briefcase, the whole thing. It's like you just smashed him. Why? It's like, well, I don't like him walking on the same planet as me. That's a material world. But when somebody comes to Brahman platform, they see a little bug and they go like, hey, you and me, we're the same. I'm going to work, you're going to work. They relate to everybody on an equal level. They just see it's like just a slight variance in karma. It's just very temporary passing through. And then Brahmaputas Prasanatma, and they feel happy. Actually happy for the first time. Good name for a book, happy for the first time. And it can only be had when you go beyond the struggle of material existence, come to the Brahman platform. But then that's nothing. Rupa Goswami says, you take all that happiness of Brahmananda, and he said all of that becomes like one drop compared to the ocean of happiness in devotional service. So if somebody's performing devotional service, even in this life, even as a complete neophyte, and gets even a trace of mercy from the Lord, from chanting, hearing, serving, washing pots, making garlands, going on Sankirtan, driving the devotees around, parking the cars, whatever one's doing for Krishna, sees the deity afterwards, and it's, oh, Krishna. They start to feel this happiness of devotional service. Atapite deva padambuja dvaya prasana lesha anugrahita evahi danasi tadvam bhagavan mahimno nachanya eko picharam bachinban. Brahma says, that person, he gets a lesha, a tiny bit of mercy from Krishna. He can understand everything, and he feels completely happy. Whereas other people, they struggle hard in all kinds of other endeavors to make it work here in the world, to try to become a great jnani or yogi. Then he said to all those people, they can work for thousands of years, but they're not going to get what they're after. But the bhaktas can get it. It comes very easily for the devotees. Nayam sukhapo bhagavan dehinam gopika sutta jnaninam chat mabhutanam yata bhakti matam iha. The jnanis try, the karmis try, the materialist tries, but they're not going to get what they're after. But the bhakta, he just tries a little bit, and he gets it. So if you're perfect in jnana, yoga, karma, or say you make one tiny little mistake in those processes, whole thing's ruined. If you're at all imperfect in those processes, you don't get the result. But in bhakti, even if you're very imperfect, apichet sudaracharo bhajate, Krishna makes this emphasis. Even if you're really bad at this, but you're a bhakta, he said, you're going to be successful. So the process of bhakti And the happiness we're talking about from bhakti is what compels the devotee to go on with the process and not be distracted by all kinds of other offers here in the material world. They're no longer interested. That's Shraddha. Shraddha Shabde Vishwas Kahe Sudridanishjoy Krishna Bhakti Koile Sarva Karma Krita Hoy. The devotee feels like only bhakti. Nothing else necessary. And even in the realm of bhakti, we may think, well, I have to sit and chant all day long. But actually, I heard Prabhupada saying yesterday that you're not qualified to chant all day long. He said, we're not qualified to chant all day long. He said, Haridas Thakur could chant all day long. He said, but for us, practical service. He was commenting on Prahlad Maharaj's prayers. And Prahlad in his prayers says that he appreciates the devotees do practical service. And we hear about this also. What is that verse? Shrinvan Granan Samsmaranam Chintayan Namani Rupani Chamangalani Te Kriyasu Yet Charanara Vindayo Avishta Cheta. Oh, come on. Give me the last couple words, please, Krishna. Avishta Cheta Nabhavaya Kalpate. Thank you. And this verse means that the devotees, they're absorbed in Krishna's name, form, qualities, etc. And how do they do that? They've got practical service going on all the time in their life. And by that, kriyasu means by labor. They're laboring hard. That fits for us. We're all laboring hard. You can offer your work to Krishna, take some of the money, put it in the yajna for the Bhagavatams like you all do, buy a new temple, a new big huge website that can bring in everybody in the world, all these types of things, and dedicate all your activities to Krishna and do the process of bhakti. It's so powerful. Even if you're imperfect, apichet sudaracharo, so you're kind of worldly minded, but don't worry, Krishna says. Shri Prambhavati Dharma. But very soon that person will become completely situated in the perfection of life through bhakti. So Shraddha Shabde Vishwas Kahe Suridanishchoy. Krishna Bhakti Koila Sarva Karma Krita. Sarva Karma Krita Hoy means the devotee becomes more and more convinced that Sarva Karma Krita Hoy, all the things I'm supposed to do. Anybody have a to-do list? Is it done? Not anywhere close, right? I think I have 45,000 unread emails, literally. Is it done? Like work with somebody, let's get it all done. And then there's 45,000 more. So, Sarva Karma Krita Hoy, it's like, you want to finish all those? Do your bhakti properly. And Krishna will finish it all for you. Everything's completed by the process of bhakti. You don't need jnana, you don't need karma, you don't need yoga, you don't need to stand on your head, although, it's not a bad idea. But all these have nothing to do with attaining the favor of the Supreme Lord. So this verse is pointing out that this bhava, apavarga, this is where bhava gets defeated. It's like this game. We did it the other day, right? Here's bhava, apavarga. Finished. It's all covered up by the process of devotional service. Apavarga defeats bhava. So we should take shelter of bhakti. Okay, there was a couple more questions. Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, dear Srila Gurudev, please accept my prostrated obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you for a very nice class and beautiful bhajan. I really loved it. The question I had was, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, you will buy the name of Krishna, I will take my commission and all our desire will be fulfilled. What the commission means?
Yeah, you're getting a commission, don't worry. One of the commissions is that we get a taste. Shushu Shro Shadadhanasya Vasudeva Kataruchi. You know, when you do some selfless service for Krishna, you especially bring people to devotional service. It's very highly recommended. You go out and you save somebody and you go to all the trouble. Is there any trouble? Yeah. And you bring them in and you present them to Lord Nityananda. So here's another devotee. And then when you go to do your devotional service, you'll stand in front of the deities and all of a sudden your heart will melt. You know, where did that come from? Prasada leshana grihita evahi. We advance by that process, by bhakti, by devotion that comes to us. It descends to us from serving Lord Nityananda and his mission. So that's your commission. And you'll notice that devotees who have this preoccupation in life of saving others and doing the work of the parampara, following the footsteps of the Mahajans, who are known to be advanced devotees. The pure devotees come down to the level of Madhyama Adhikari so that they can do good for others. Because in the Uttama platform, they just see everyone's fine. Everything's moving the way it should be. Everyone's engaged in Krishna's service except for me. That's a paradox. And then as a Madhyama Adhikari, they do good for others. And those who follow their footsteps and do the work of the Madhyama Adhikari, the commission is, they get more faith. They get a vision of what's actually going on. That's invaluable, to be actually appreciate devotional service and have full realization of what it is, or at least some realization. So if you do your service, Shru Shru Shro Shradhana Sya Vasudeva Katha Ruchi, you get Ruchi for Vasudeva Katha. And if you got that, then you got everything. So you don't need anything else. If you're satisfied with that, then as Parikshit said, how's the verse go? He was satisfied. He wasn't taking any water even. He said, Chutam Harikatamritam. I don't need water. I don't even need sleep right now. Most people get tired when they don't sleep or eat, but this is how powerful it is to have a taste for Krishna Katha, so you don't need anything. The main things, everyone has to eat. If they don't eat, can't be happy. You can fast for a while and get a little happiness, but you have to go back to eating again. Otherwise, life's no good. Everyone wants a kitchen in their house. What is the verse? It's right before Vasudeva. It's right at the beginning, right after. It's one of the first verses in the 10th canto.
That is 10:1:13.
And how does it start? Sorry.
Naisha.
Naishati dushaha shunmam. Naishati dushahanno taktodam apibhadite. Pibantan twan mukamboja chutam harikatamritam. Naishati dushaha shunmam. Usually, he said, Parikshit Maharaj said, usually people feel tired and hungry. Or normally I would feel tired and hungry, not eating, not sleeping. He said, but not now. I feel completely satisfied because chutam harikatamritam. Chuta means falling down. Harikata. The harikata is falling down from your mouth. I'm drinking that. So I'm satisfied. That's perfection of life, if one can get that. And you get that by the mercy of Lord Nityananda. If you bring souls to him, your commission, here you go. And then you can fully serve Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and more and be absorbed. That's the wealth of life. If you don't need anything else but service. Okay, what else? Yes.
This is Sadhu Vrindavan. And
could we see Sadhu, please? We need to see him on the screen. Thank you.
You were talking about in the beginning of the lecture, you were talking about how there's bees and they store honey in their hives, and then the honey badger comes and then takes it, it destroys their hard work. So I was thinking about how the material world, actually, we work for enjoyment, but actually if we perform, and that work, it gives us temporary enjoyment, but then and then the enjoyment goes and there's like distress. But I was thinking, you were talking about devotional service. It can give us unlimited happiness. And then there's these two verses that came to my mind. Ye tamam prapadyante tam sataiva bhajamyaham mama manuvartante manushya bharata sarvasaha, which means all who surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. And there was an anyashchinti antamanu janapariupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyam, which means that if you perform devotional service unto me, I carry what you lack and preserve what you have. So thank you for the wonderful lecture. I was just thinking about these points, two verses.
Really nice citations. Thank you. Just mentioning also, doesn't mean you can't work. Vidyam cha yas tadvedo bayam saha avidya yamritum tirtva vidya yamritum ashnite. Devotees who are in a particular phase of their life, they're working hard and maintaining family for the sake of keeping a standard of devotional service, or they're working hard so they can give resources to the spread the Krishna consciousness movement. They're also advancing, coming to the position of understanding the rarity of devotional service, and they're serving Krishna through those means too. So it's not to say that we have to stop work, but in every phase of life there's a particular realization that one should have. In the midsection of life, when devotees are working as grahastas, maintaining family, work, and at the same time do your devotional service like you're all doing. And you get this side-by-side view. You also learn how to use everything, well, you already know, in Krishna's service, and you also set an example for others. Because people, as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, they can't just stop working. Don't tell them that. But show them rather how to keep working, but do it in the spirit of devotional service. And then they'll be happy. They'll start to sense happiness that comes from giving to Krishna rather than just trying to keep everything and be a griyameti, which means this is all my stuff, these are my people, everybody else go to hell. And I hope you do, fast. That's griyameti life. That's the acute form of the disease in the material world. But devotees aren't like that, and people can see it. They work in the world, and you have to, actually Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that grahastas are the best preachers because they integrate with society. I remember one day we were going door to door. I was with SKP. We knocked on a door, and his boss was in there. And then what do you say? Like, oh, hi, I didn't know you lived here. Like, what are you doing? Come in. And so, you work, you go out, and then he appreciated it, actually. He's like, wow, this is really nice what you're doing. And people have to be reached on the third floor sometimes, away at the end. We were in Irvine, California. It's one of the biggest Vietnamese populations in California, maybe in America. There's a Vietnam town. That's my kind of place. I love Vietnamese people. And so we were going door to door, and there was a huge mall that had three levels, outdoor mall. And some of the levels on the third floor, the stores weren't even open pre-COVID. And he said, let's try it. We went up these 3 flights of stairs, and most of them were closed. Try all the doors, they're locked, they're locked, they're locked, they're locked. And they're like, wow, there's one open way at the end. They must not need foot traffic. They're probably on the phone all the time. So we walked all the way down to the end. It was like a hidden place. Nobody even knew they were there. Opened the door, they're like, oh my God, a person. And we walked in, and they ended up, they were so shocked, they ended up taking a book. And chanting, and we saw they kind of broke through and they became a little happy. And when we were walking away, we're thinking, well, who else would have found him? Unless we had gone to the third floor and tried every single door and then come to the end. And so there are people all over the universe, far-flung places. And so Lord Nityananda gives it to us to go out and find them. Go search them out and give them a little something. Just give them something to wet their beak. And they get a little something and wet their beak, and then oh, that's not so bad, like, here, eat this too, and chant this, and read that, like, Hare Krishna, and then you walk away, and they're like, what just happened? And that'll have an effect, and then, you got a big commission there. It goes on your record. Don't think all these things won't go on your record. When you leave your body, you remember everything all at once. It all flashes before your eyes. Because it's on a subtle level. You'll see a big screen, and everything that you ever did, said, all the people you met, and you'll remember every time that you met somebody. Right now, you can't remember all the people you sold books to, just some of the fantastical ones. Like, I remember that. Car was going through the set in the backyard. He swiped his card. He drove off before the light changed. I remember that. But you don't remember the hundreds and thousands. And for some people, like Divyanga Prabhu, he sold over 2 million books in his life. He doesn't remember all those people, but he will when he leaves his body. They'll all flash before his eyes. Like, oh yeah, I sold 2 million books, starting at Cleveland Hopkins Airport, and then O'Hare Airport, and then Miami-Dade Airport, or wherever he was, and then, Orlando. And then, here, there, everywhere, it'll all come before the eyes. You're getting your commission, compounded interest. You want a portfolio. You become a spiritual billionaire by Lord Nityananda's mercy. Then what else do you need? Everyone else dies and their money's like, what about my money? It's like, well, that wasn't really yours anyway. It's going to your relatives that you hate. Ma Guna had a colleague that was very frugal. She used to put away all her money. Worked hard, put away all her money, and even when she got sick at the end, she wouldn't spend for herself. She just sort of withered away, but she wouldn't spend anything on her health or relief. And she died intestate, which means she had no will. And so in California, you die, and then they look for your next of kin. She didn't have mother or father, whoever it went to were relatives that she was estranged from. They were in a huge fight, and she hated them. So all her money, a third of it went to the probate court, because there's a process you have to go through for this to happen. So they take a huge chunk. How'd you like that? 30% gone. And then the other 70%, it went to the relatives that she was at odds with. She hated their guts. And they got it. And she got nothing. But when you get commissioned from Lord Nityananda, it all compounds, and you keep that always. Neha bikramana shosti pratyavayona vidite. Prabhu. Hare Krishna Vajananda, welcome back to ISV. Come on, it's Vajananda. Don't forget, we like you here. Okay, go ahead.
I can never forget. Thank you. We were talking about commission, and I just had this flash that came in my mind that I wanted to share. So I was at I get a phone call one day recently, this boy, and he told me he got my number from someone, and he tells me that I gave him a book at a 420 festival. I don't know if you all know what that is, but it's like
marijuana festival.
Yeah.
Everyone goes there and smokes ganja.
In Austin, Texas, in 2015, maybe 2015, and that he got a book for me there, and I gave a book to his friend, who his friend didn't really want it, so he took it from his friend, but he remembers meeting me because he was in the group. And then he says, some years later, I started taking the bhakti, and now I'm getting initiated by Shankarshan Dasadikari at the end of October. And he said, I'd love nothing more than for you to be there. and I was almost crying because he was almost crying, and I just felt, the same thing. I didn't even know. I don't remember him at all, but I'm getting this commission 7 years later, and I feel this wow, like I don't even, most of those years I don't remember hardly anybody I met, just a few, like you said, but this one person who I don't remember, I made such an impact in his life. It changed his whole trajectory, and now he's a serious devotee, taking initiation, and he's distributing books now, every day.
Bravo! Sadhu, sadhu. Bravissimo.
And then I'm getting more commission because he's distributing books now too. So
Yeah. It's your downline. It's MLM, multi-level marketing. It's the original MLM started by Lord Nityananda. Very nice. Okay, we'll just take a couple more reflections. Yes, Prabhu. 1, 2.
Hare Krishna. So for a yogi who is on the jnana or the karma marga, if his practice is incomplete at the end of his life, what happens to that yogi?
After long practice of yoga, then one goes to heavenly planets and then comes back down again into a family here at ISV. And then, if you practice for a short amount of time, then you go to the heavenly planets and you're born in Woodside or Hillsborough. I don't know what the rich neighborhoods are around here. Hillsborough will work for us, right? You're born in Hillsborough in a rich family, and it's like, kid, you want a Ferrari for your 5th birthday? And it's like, yeah. So Krishna says this in the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. After long practice of yoga, you got so much momentum, you come into a family they're already transcendentalists. And if you're short practice, then it's just you get more facility because you come into a family where it's kind of wide open. You can be expressive. You don't have to think about working so hard and things like that. That's not a guarantee, but if you meet devotees, Rupa Goswami mentions this, any semblance of attraction, this shraddha that you have, this is kind of an attraction. Even it starts, Prabhupada said, with appreciation. You see devotees and you go I don't know, there's something about those guys. I kind of like that. I don't know what it is. I don't know what they're doing. It looks kind of weird. I don't know if I could ever do it, but I like them. Leave them alone, Larry. And so that comes from association with sadhus. You got some sadhu sangha somewhere, and therefore you have this sense God, I like devotees a lot, or a little even. And that's the beginning. We get the sadhu sangha, and then we get this faith is born. And when you get enough accumulation of that in your heart, your heart's like a bank account, you get enough capital in there, then you can, purchase something. It's okay, I'm doing it. I'm walking in there, I'm going to go for sadhu sangha, and I'm going to sit down with those guys and see what it's all about. That's when you get a little investment capital. And then they'll say, okay, here, take this, you chant like that, do it twice a day, and then they're okay. And then you start on your process of devotional service.
I was just thinking about the point you made where you said that any path you take, you have to put bhakti into it. And also this morning during Japa Circle, you were saying that you have to have eagerness to chant as well. It isn't just chanting, you also need to want to chant. And it was kind of a wake-up call for me because I was kind of you know what, I'll just chant, and then everything will somehow happen. Like even though I don't want to chant, everything will work out. And I kind of just realized that that's not how it works. Like Krishna also wants something. He wants your like bhakti and he wants your eagerness. So you can't just like expect Krishna to give you everything but not give Krishna anything in return. So I was just thinking about that.
Shrivas, what do you think? Yeah. There's a verse, Krishna bhakti ras bhavitomati kriyatam yari kritopi labhyate tatalolyam eva mulyame kalam janma koti sukritirna labhyate, which means that there's one price to pay to get bhakti, and that's your eagerness to get it. Laulya means like you're greedy for it. You run, don't walk. He's just like, I want that, I want it. And you go for it really quick. So then it says, Janmakoti Sukirtan Labhyate. If you do Sukriti, mundane pious activity, or anything else that we're talking about, and you don't have that eagerness for devotional service, then you can't, after thousands of lifetimes, Rupa Goswami says, you won't get it. And then he says, if it's available somewhere, this is the mood, if you know it's available, I'm going to go get it right now. I'm not waiting. It's like not tomorrow, not next day, next year, at the end of my life, now. I want it now. So then Prabhupada says about that verse, this laulyam, this greed that you're talking about. He says, so, okay, fine, I'll just have this mood. He said, it's not so easy, sir. He said, this comes only after good fortune of association with devotees. You know, you could say, oh, I'll be very enthusiastic, which is good. Utsahan nischaya, we should be very enthusiastic. But to actually feel that I want this, I have to have it, this comes from the mercy of association with sadhus. And if you can get that, then you're very, very fortunate. So, if you didn't have it, you wouldn't have asked. Which is, you know, the purpose. We're in sadhu sangha. And then you start, like you said, there's a revelation. You know, we have these revelations, and that's what keeps driving us. Keep doing our practices and so forth. Pretty good, right? She's happy. Okay. That was nice, Gita Priya. It was too much nice.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I was just thinking about the commission that Krishna gives. I was just comparing it to, Krishna gives you, helps you find devotees, and he will make you do, you're just an instrument. And then Krishna also gives you commission for that. Well, Krishna does, it's not that a person can actually make somebody a devotee depending on, their own strength. So I was just kind of comparing it to when kids start cleaning when the little kids start helping parents clean the house, then they'll take only one little tissue and put it, oh, wonderful, wonderful, you did a great job, so you're going to actually get to go to the park today because you cleaned. Most of the cleaning would have done by the parents, but the kid only picks up a little thing somewhere. And again, that also with the help of parents. So I was just trying to connect that too and think that how merciful Krishna is. He's giving us a commission for something that he himself plans and just makes us do it for that moment. And at that moment, I start thinking, wow, you know what? I am the one who makes people devotees. So I was just thinking about that. And the second part I was thinking about is when Gita Priya was saying that the laulyam that you were talking about, when I got to Krishna consciousness, my parents were very against me going to temple or do anything about Krishna. Not that they were not God conscious, they were more worried about ISKCON. So they didn't know about the movement and things like that. So I remember how I would actually literally lie every time, those 2 years that I went to temple. I felt that the amount of eagerness that I had wanting to go see DTs, the days when I could not go, I would actually dream about them. But after all these years, now that Krishna is coming easily for me, my Prabhu is okay with me doing Krishna consciousness, I'm thinking that I don't dream about them anymore. I'm not eager to go see them. It's like, I know I can go to the temple on Saturday mornings. So even though when things come easier way, how do you continue to have that laulyam? Thank you.
Well, I'd like to address the first point first, and that is that the devotees leave us an opportunity to do service. Prabhupada mentioned this And I read it in the excerpt about Bhaktivinoda Thakur that he said Bhaktivinoda Thakur was a Vaishnava. He could have done everything, but he left it for us people to do. And this is spiritual intelligence, to realize that the great acharyas have left us an opportunity. There's service to do, and they've defined what it is, specifically what to do. And if you're able to grab that and do that service, then that's spiritual intelligence. Because it's wide open. Anybody could do it. Even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave an open order, like, do this. Go teach people about Krishna consciousness. He said, become a guru and teach everybody about Krishna consciousness. And you could read that and go like, yeah, I think I'm going to sign up for that. That's spiritual intelligence. And it's true that under circumstances where we feel repressed, oftentimes we are able, like a pressure cooker, to develop more steam, more heat. It's happened in Krishna's Leela also. The gopis, if I may be so bold, who were held back by their families to not join Krishna in the forest, actually made more advancement, in the sense that their desire to join him became so explosive that they actually left behind any last vestiges of the material body. And it's a constant endeavor to notice that about ourselves, that we don't hit a plateau and take it for granted. And this is in anything that you do every day and that you get used to, or that there's the possibility of getting used to, you have to be careful. Like, let's just take a mundane occupation, like people who are preparing for the Olympics and athletics. They have to do the same thing every day, but they're always looking for an edge, changing it up. You can't do the same routine every day. You have to cross-train. You have to do all kinds of different exercises and notice what your body's doing. Sometimes you have to eat less. Sometimes you have to eat more. You have to be steady, but be aware of what's really happening. So devotees like Raghunath Das Goswami have written books to make us aware of the thought process of the devotees who are in the process of devotional service, and they're always constantly aware, am I making advancement or am I getting used to this? Am I taking it for granted? Do I think, oh, now people noticed me, he says, and now I think like, wow, that's pretty good. He said, that's like the stool of a hog. This idea that I'm doing puja, labha, pratishta. These are the enemies of the devotee's practice. Because, as Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says in Madhuri Kadambini, after you get a little successful in devotional service, then people will come to you and go like, you're so great. Can I give you would you like a Cadillac? Cadillac ek. And take that and, have a, and then you could stop there and plateau and just say, well, that's not bad, So you have to associate with devotees, the teachings of devotees, and become aware of your own advancement, just as an Olympic athlete is getting ready for the Olympics and just like, oh, that's not good enough. I have to keep my edge. So you have to do that that's good sadhana, is you're noting it. What is my mentality? Why am I doing this? And then Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said you have to beat the mind with shoes and then broomsticks. Good if you can get chastised. If somebody can just like tell you, hey, put that down. Don't do this. Why are you doing that? You're in a lucky position, so you should find intimate associates who can chastise you and tell you you're doing it wrong. You have a spouse, that should help.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, I have a quick question. You just explained how after a long practice, what happens, and after a short practice, what happens. But in a devotional service, we see that Prabhupada also says that even in a minute, one can get their devotional service done by calling out Krishna's name. So how do we define this long and short? On what basis, Prabhu? Because some devotees make progress in a very short time. For somebody, it takes a long time. So how do we determine this?
Well, first of all, it depends on the quality of the utterance, Prabhupada says. In the verse, Aho batashra chato garyanya jivagre vartate namatubhyam te pusta paste juhuvu sasna arya brahmana churnama grananti ete, which Devahuti says, oh, how wonderful it is, the holy name, even if uttered once, just a little bit on the tip of the tongue by a person who's in the material world, that person becomes eligible to perform Vedic sacrifice. And Prabhupada says in the purport, this is all true. And all the acharyas say, this is all true. But it also depends on the quality of the utterance of the devotee. And we get that quality by the association of sadhus, that a sense of urgency and so forth. And it may fructify for some people very quickly because it's already ready to fructify. The bank accounts are already nearly full. Like Lal Babu. Prabhupada mentions him in the Nectar of Devotion. And he's talked about in the Bhakti Sandarbha. Lal Babu was a great businessman doing all kinds of deals and getting tons of money. And one day he was walking to his office. There was a young girl out in front of the house of a sweeper woman who called out to her daughter for time to eat. She said, now's time. Come now. Do it now, come. And he heard those words, and for him it fructified in his heart as, now's the time to surrender to Krishna, don't wait any longer. So he put down his briefcase, put his iPhone away, and he started going door to door begging to build a temple. Now you can go to his temple in Vrindavan. It's near Gopinath Bazaar, the Lal Babu Mandir, right? Really beautiful temple, beautiful, really tall Radha Krishna deities. And Prabhupada mentions that this is the, it becomes fructified within a moment. He doesn't mention that, Jiva Goswami does, but he mentions Lal Babu begging. So the point is that devotional service, like fruit on a tree, the time it takes for a fruit to fructify is the time it takes. So you have to go on with the process. And he writes, does Srila Prabhupada in the light of the Bhagavat, that will come of its own force when the time is right. You don't have to worry. Just like if a woman's pregnant and healthy, then baby's going to come. It's like, when's this going to happen? It's like, don't worry about it. It's a done deal. Baby's going to come out whether you like it or not. Sometimes it takes a little longer, sometimes it's shorter, but the baby's coming out. So in the same way, when the seed of devotional service is growing, you keep watering because it's for sure. The only thing, be careful not to stifle the growth. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, don't make offenses. Don't let an elephant into your garden to walk around, because then it'll be crushed. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us here at ISKCON of Silicon Valley for our bhajans and Srimad Bhagavatam discussions. And now we're going to have the Guru Puja for Srila Prabhupada, so we can put all the asanas away, and we'll reconvene within 3 minutes and 22 seconds. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarvishcha kripasindhaveva patitanam pavanibhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namo. He Dinabando Karanaika Sindo Kuru Prasada Mayamanda Mudhe Laksha Paradhe Bahupa Pagadhe Tatpada Padme Stumatishta Krishna. I bow down to the beautiful lotus feet of my spiritual master, by whose causeless mercy I have obtained the supreme holy name, the divine mantra, the service of the son of Shachimata, the association of Srila Swarup Damodar, Rupa Goswami and his older brother Sanatan Goswami, the supreme abode of Mathura, the blissful abode of Vrindavan, the divine Radha Kunda and Govardhan Hill, and the desire within my heart for the loving service of Shri Radhika and Madhava in Vrindavan. O spiritual master, O giver of divine wisdom, O friend of the fallen, you are the giver of your own bliss, and you are the only ocean of mercy. Although dwelling in Vrindavan, you have descended for the welfare of fallen souls like myself, and you are preaching the divine love of Radha for Krishna. Please be kind upon me. O friend of the lowly, O Gurudev, you are the only ocean of mercy. I'm a dull fool and have committed hundreds of thousands of offenses. I have fallen into a dense myriad of sins. Therefore grace me with your mercy, so that my mind may be fixed on your lotus feet and on Sri Krishna. The lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we can attain pure devotional service. I bow to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By his grace one can cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. Our only wish is to have our consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is the perfection that fills all desires. He opens our darkened eyes and fills our hearts with transcendental knowledge. He is our Lord, birth after birth. From him ecstatic prema emanates. By him ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing of his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, the friend of the poor, and the Lord Master of the devotees. O Master, be merciful unto us. Give us the shade of your lotus feet. Your fame is spread all over the three worlds. Sri Guru Charana Padma Kevalabha Kahati Sadma. Bandombu Savadana Mate. Bandombu Savadana Mate. Jahara prasade bhai bhavato riyajai. Krishna prapti hoy jaha hoy te. Krishna prapti hoy jaha hoy te. Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitete Riya Oikya. Anakori ho mane asha. Arnakori ho mane asha. Shri Guru Charane Rati Aishe Uttama Gati. Jai prashade pure sarva asha. Jai prashade pure sarva asha. Chakudandi loje janme janme Prabhu she. Chakudandi loje janme janme Prabhu she. Divya gyan hrire prokashita. Divya Gyan Hriday Prokashita. Prema Bhakti Jaha Hoite Abhijja Vinasa Jate. Prema Bhakti Jahoite Abhijja Vinasa Jate. Vede Gai Jahara Charita. Vede Gai Jahara Charita. Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adhama Janara Bandhu. Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adhama Janara Bandhu. Lokanath Lokera Jivana. Lokanath Lokera Jivana. Ha ha Prabhu Koro Doya Deha More Pada Chaya. Ha ha Prabhu Koro Doya Deha More Pada Chaya. Ebe Jashku Shik Tribhuvana. Ebe Jashku Shik Tribhuvana. Ha ha Prabhu Koro Doya De Amore Pada Chaya. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunnavadi Paschatya Reshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Haraya Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namah Yadhavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha Gopal Govindaram Shri Madhusudan Giridhari Gopinath Madan Mohan Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Sita Hare Guru Vaishnava Bhagavata Gita Shri Rup Shri Sanatan Bhatta Raghuna Shri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Das Raghunath H.I. Gosai Kori Chananam Vandan Jahvaite Vignanash Abhishta Puran. H.I. Gosai Jar Muitar Das. Tansavara Pararinu Mora Panchagras. Tandera Charana Sebe Bhakta Sanibas. Janame Janame Hoye Abila. H.I. Gosai Jabe Braje Koilabas. Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Koila Prakash. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Koila Prakash. Bolo Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavan. Bolo Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavan. Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Mojumiyaman. Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Kori Ash. Hare Nam Sankirtan Kohe Narotamo Das. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Is that on? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitai Gaur Hari Bo. Nitai Gaur Hari Bo, Hari Bol, Hari Bo, Nitai Gaur Hari Bo. Nitai Gaur Premanande, Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki, Shri Harinam Mahamantra Ki, Shri Harinam Prabhu Ki, Go Premanande. Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitai Gaur Hari Bo. Jayom Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakachajasto Tarastashi Shimad Bhai Charanara Vinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayom Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakachajasto Tarastashi Shimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Ki. Ananta Koti Vaishnavini Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Gaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrindighi Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gokopinath Shamakund Radhakund Giri Govardhan Ki Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Shri Mayapur Navadip Dham Ki Shri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki Jamuna Devi Ganga Devi Ki Sambheda Bhaktivinoda Ki. All glories to some devotees. All glories to some devotees. All glories to some devotees. Gaur Premanande. Hari 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 Bo. Grain ceremony now. Now grains. Now announcements. Grains announcements. What? Thank you. Thank you very much. Today we have the great pleasure and honor of having a grain ceremony. So for this, we're going to need some Harinam to begin with as we assemble. Because every ceremony, especially this one, which is to give an impression, a samskar, in the life of the baby, we need the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra to start and to finish. So if you'll kindly give us the Mahamantra. Vantika, could you sing, please?
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Prance, Hare Krishna. Welcome to your first grain ceremony. You'll remember this, you'll look back on this later and say, who was that little fella sitting there? And it was you. We're going to begin today by invoking auspiciousness by chanting together one chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15. Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva Praninam Dehamashutam. So in this verse, Krishna says that I'm the fire of digestion in every stomach. And he's so kind that he digests the food for us. And now, Prance, you've come of age to the time where you can take grains. So this will be marking the time when you really start digging in and chowing down on some roti. Okay? So let's chant together the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, Sanskrit. Sri Bhagavan Vacha Urdvambulam Adashakam Ashvatam Prahur Avyayam Chandansi Yasya Parnani Yastam Veda Savedavit Adashchodvam Prashritastasya Shaka Guna Pravrida Vishaya Pravala Adashcha Mulan Anusantatani Karmanubhantini Manusha Loke Narupamasyeha Tatopalabhyate Nanto Nachadirnyacha Sampratishta Ashvatamenam Suvavruda Mulam Asanga Shastrena Dradhena Chitva Tatakpadam Tat Parimargitavyam Yasmin Gatana Nirvartanti Bhuya Tameva Chadyam Purusham Prapadye Yatak Pravriti Prashrita Purani Nirmana Moha Jita Sangha Dosha Adhyatma Nitya Vinivritta Kama Dvandvarva Mukta Sukha Samjar Gachantya Mura Paramavyayam Tad Natad Pasayate Suryo Na Shashanko Na Pavakaha Yad Gatva Na Nirvartante Tadama Paramam Mama Mamaivam Sho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatanaha manakshastani indriyani prakriti stani karshati shariram yadavapnoti yachchap yukramatishvara grihit vaitani samyati vayurgandhani vashayat shotram chakshushparshanam cha rasanam granameva cha adhishtaya manaschayan vishayanupasevate utkramantam stitam vapi bunjanan vagunanvitam vimudhananupashyanti pashyanti jnana chakshushaha yatanto yoginashchaivam pashyantyatmanyavastatam yatanto pyakratmano nainam pashyantya chetasaha yadaditya gatam tejo jagadvasayate kilam yaschandramasi yachchagnau tattejo vidimamakam gam avishya cha bhutani darayam yaham ojasa pushnami chausadi sarva somo bhutva rasatmakaha aham vaishvanaro bhutva praninam deham ashritaha pranapana samayukta pachanyanam chaturvidam sarvasya chaham vriddhi sannivishto mattak smritir jnanam apohanam cha vedaishta samyameva vedyo vedanta krit veda vedeva chaham dvavimau purusha loke shadaschakshada evata charak sarvani bhutani kutasto shada uchate Uttama purushastvanya paramatmet yudarita yolokatrayama vishya bhipartavya ishvara yasmat sharamatitoham aksharada pichotamaha atosmi loke vedecha pratita purushottama yo mameva masambudho janati purushottamam sasarva vid bhajati mam sarva bhavena bharata iti kuhya tamam shastram idam uktan mayanaka etad budva buddhiman syat krita kritasya bharata Om Tat Sariti Srimad Bhagavad Gita Supanishatsu Brahma Vidyam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Nuna Sambade Purushottam Yoga Nama Panchadashodhyayaha Hari Om. So now, with a little bit of chanting in the background, we're going to give Prance his first grains. We should move a little closer, maybe.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Fancy? Okay, your turn.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And now we're going to divine Prance's proclivities in life by offering him the choice between huge stacks of cash, solid gold bracelets and diamonds on that side, Prance, and on this side, the Srimad Bhagavatam. And now, from your inspiration, you please choose which one you like the best. Means very advanced level of devotional service to cry by singing the Bhagavatam. Yeah. Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. You did good, Prance. Let the record show that Prance, after crying by seeing the Bhagavatam, just as Gadadhar Pandit or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would do, he also embraced the Bhagavatam. So on this day, we are predicting that Prance will be a great Vaishnav, always attached to the teachings of the Parampara and the Srimad Bhagavatam. It'll become an example for others of how to be eager for devotional service. Dear Srila Prabhupada, dear Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Shri Panchatattva, Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan, Shri Shri Lakshmi Nrsingadev, if you so desire, please bless our dear Prance that he may always be close to you and the devotees, always be eager to hear and chant your glories and spread them all over the world. May he always be protected and happy to guzzle gallons of sweet rice. Thank you for considering our request, Maha Sweet Rice. Thank you for considering our request, Om Tat Sat. Everyone who believes in this prayer or feels that it is valid or worthy, in part or in whole, please say Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Gaur Premanande.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I pronounce this ceremony a complete success. Gaur Premanande Haribo. Panchakalpatarvascha kripasindame vacha patitanam pavanibhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhu Haribo. And now we have some important announcements, starting with Malini about the Sankirtan.
Hare Krishna. We are actually gearing towards our Bhadra Purnima MSF, where our goal is to distribute at least 2,000 Srimad Bhagavatam sets. And so far we have done 500. So and we have 1,500 more to go. And we are slowly inching towards our goal. And we are very happy to announce that our Russian Bhagavatam sets are here. And we'll try to get them as soon as possible. But if anybody was looking for a Russian Bhagavatam set, then please let us know. And you can also contact Vaisesika. She's already making a plan on distributing all of them. We have about 1,500. We asked for more, but we got one shipment, and which is in New York, and it's on its way. And we are going to get more. So probably we have only 150 now, Prabhu. Yeah, 115, 10%. And wanted to announce that usually if you wanted a Russian Bhagavatam set, it's usually for 400 or something, but we are giving to you only for $250. So last weekend was a wonderful weekend. We went out for the first time. Yes.
I'd like to sponsor one Russian Bhagavatam.
Jai, the most fortunate one, whoever is going to get from His Grace Vaisesika Prabhu. Wow, Jai. I would like to do one too. Radhakripa Prabhu wants to Russian Bhagavatam said yes, one Russian Bhagavatam. Okay. Well, this was not planned. Okay. So last weekend we had the first week when we went out. I just wanted to share one story from that. We went knocking in one of the kind of affluent neighborhoods in Fremont, and when we knocked the door, people were receptive, but somehow they were all said they didn't want Srimad Bhagavatam. So we went many doors, but we met a lot of people who gave good donations as well. But one person, one Indian lady, she was just walking with her friend, with her daughter, and then Achyuta Kumar Prabhu just casually told her that, we are showing this Bhagavatam, and he had a trolley with the full set, and he showed, this is what we are showing. And in just 2 minutes said, yes, I will take it. And she said, but I'm walking now, so I can't take the set with me, so you come to my home. And she gave the address and her phone number. And then we said, yes, we'll finish this area by the time you go. And she said, just come after 7 o'clock because I have to go shopping. And we thought, okay, we'll go. And just when it was about 7, we were ready to go. And we put her address in the Apple Maps. And the Apple Maps stopped us at a place nowhere. That address was just some trees and things like that. And we were just wondering, oh, did she trick us by giving us an address? So we were just driving through the route where we wanted to go to. We put Google Maps and said, let's try. And while we were going, it was out of nowhere. We were going into the neighborhood. There was one person who was, he has a big house. He was just standing. He just came out of the door. He had the Lord Shiva's tilak, three tilak. And then we were just driving slowly, and then he just saw and he waved at us. Generally we waved at them, but he waved at us. And then I said, stop, let's go. And we just went and parked directly in his driveway. And then we started showing Bhagavatam. And immediately he took off his shoes. And he actually touched the Bhagavatam. And he said that he reads Bhagavad Gita every single day. He listens to Veluguri Krishnan Swami. And he and his wife was doing japa. They have a nice temple room. They are doing japa. And then we said, I don't know why we lost our way. It looks like Krishna wanted us to come to your home. And he took the Srimad Bhagavatam happily. He gave $600 donation for a Bhagavatam set. And after that, we ended up going to the other house of the lady, and she took Bhagavatam too. And she was very receptive, so it was all Krishna's arrangement. Today we are going out again. So only adults are going out. And we request all the devotees to please continue wearing your masks. And kids are going to stay home, and they will do some online Sankirtan. And Sirisha Mataji is going to lead the calling party at 2 o'clock. So that's going on still. And Western Sankirtan team is going out. Prabhu, would you like to announce your spots? Kautakarna Prabhu. They are going to Muir Woods, one spot, and second is Monterey. If anybody would like to join, that's the best spot if you want to go on book distribution. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Now, J.M. Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, can you please give me sharing rights? Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Rama Rama Hare Hare. Can I be given sharing rights, please? Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Can it come on the show as well? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama. Yeah. Thank you. So, few quick announcement about Bhakti Community. As you know, Bhakti Community is for newcomers. So, whenever you come in contact with newcomers, please invite them to Bhakti Community. Go to bhakticommunity.com/invite-newcomers. And there you can find instructions how to invite them. So whenever you give books, please do introduce Bhakti Community as well. As you know, a couple of weeks ago, we did launch the Sankirtan app. So devotees have been entering book scores in Sankirtan app. Please continue to do so. We are going to start the next MSF as well. It will be available later today. So you can start entering book score for the next MSF as well. And I'm happy to share that upon the request of Vaisesika Prabhu, Jayapataka Swami Maharaj has kindly created a separate secretariat dedicated to reporting book scores for WSN from all the 250 centers across the globe that Jayapataka Swami Maharaj actually leads throughout Asia, South America, as well as other places. So we had a call today morning, and with Adidev Prabhu, who is the leading that secretariat, and looking forward to collaborating with them and getting their Sankirtan score also on the Sankirtan app. And as you know, Bhakti Circle is a new 9-month program which systematically introduces simplified Krishna consciousness. So we had a very good session on karma last week, and the next session is a continuation, session 7, Karma, Free Will and Destiny. And the last session on karma was very well received. We had quite a few newcomers, of course, from Kautukarna Prabhu and Krishna Prabhu and others who came in, and they really liked it. There were very good question. Looks like karma is a very favorite topic of everyone, because naturally people do understand that intuitively. So I just want to play a short clip of one of the newcomer who joined, and how she related and what she was actually looking for, and how this benefited her. So I'll quickly share that clip.
we have Gwansa joining us. So we met in Muir Woods. So she is a really spiritual person, and actually karma is her favorite topic. So she is really happy to join today. Welcome, Gwansa.
Hello, thank you very much. It's really nice to be joining you, all of you. Astrology brought me to Veds and Bhagavad Gita, and I could not be happier to learn more about karma and meet awesome people like you in the deep woods where I was not even thinking that I would have any kind of signs coming down from the sky, but that was it. Very happy to be joining you guys.
That's amazing. Looks like a karma played a lot of role there for you to find Kautuk in the Muir Woods, and that's the best
It
place to
is.
go.
It is because I kept talking about that day. I was doing fasting for Saturday, and I trying to follow the Vedic astrology. And I was just talking to my friend about spirituality, Bhagavad Gita, for past 2-3 hours while we were hiking. And he literally made a joke. He's like, "Oh, you believe in signs? And look at it. There's all these books that they're like have a stand." And I turned my head, and I was like, "Yeah, this is the sign." Shani wanted me to see this. So I'm very thankful to you guys. Thank you.
Amazing. I'm so happy for you, and thank you for joining. And we look forward to seeing more of you and hearing more
Of
from
course.
you. Yeah.
Of course. Thank you very much.
Anybody else to?
Yeah, so thank you so much, Kautukana Prabhu, Krishna Prabhu, and all the other who are taking these newcomers and helping them, and they are looking for it. As you could see, they're talking about it, and Kautukana Prabhu manifested there at Muir Woods, bringing her into the class. And I also want to thank all the leaders who lead these classes within the Bhakti Circle, and they have been very, very instrumental because they have lots of questions, and all these leaders answer them very patiently, and they are very much appreciated. Our youth team is also trying out new ways to reach out to the newcomers. Last week they had a talk on Avengers series, part 1, Negative Emotions, which was wonderfully led by the university team, and it was very, very well received. So if you have time, please do check out at spiritualyouth.com, spiritualyouthcircle.com on Facebook as well as YouTube. And if you know any youth newcomer who might benefit, both high school as well as university, please do share with them so that they can benefit. And lastly, there are several service opportunities across. We are getting more centers, so partner services, helping newcomers out, outreach, website, and translation. So please do reach out in case anyone is interested. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Hare Krishna. We just launched the so we just launched the Bhagavad Seva the next semester, August to December. We have a few important highlights. As far as the online classes are going, which are already ongoing, we have online Sunday school. We're adding the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita class for the adults, kids art classes, and adults cooking classes and kids cooking classes. So for those who don't know, Bhagavad Seva classes are, we have about 25 volunteers, and last year we did 253 Bhagavatams with the fees that we collected. So my request is please spread this word, the more, because we have 2,000 Bhagavatams to go. Our goal is at least we'll have about 200 to 300 registrations this year. We already have had a few in the last semester, but our goal is that we get more enrollments. And one important thing this year is we have, for the Sunday school, online Sunday school, we have a certification from ISV for until the kids are 8-year-old, and after 9-year-old, they will get the certification from Bhaktivedanta Vidyapeeth, GV, which is under Mumbai University. And for Chaitanya Charitamrita class, please, it's Adi Leela and Gaurang Darshan Prabhu, who did the books that he wrote, Bhagavata Subodhini, which most of you would be reading in Bhakti Shastriya Bhakti Vaibhava. He is going to conduct the class, and it's going to be a 6-month series of finishing the Adi Leela with a certification. Thank you so much, and please make sure that you spread the word. Thank you all. Hare Krishna.
Avantika, please tell us what's going on in the kitchen.
Hare Krishna. Today's Prashadam team mentioned that they were cooking under the supervision of Srimati Radharani. So their lead cook was Yashoda Kripa Prabhu, and he was helped by Hitesh Prabhu, Purushottam Gauranga Prabhu, Ramapriya Prabhu, Suyash Prabhu, and Vamshi Mohan Prabhu.
Haribo! Sharirat Vijajja Jotendriya Chaheka Jibe Pele Bishaya Shagade Dharma Didi Bhayati Loba Moisu Dhurmati Take jeta katita shangsare Krishna Bodho Doyamo Gori Bare Jihwa Jai Shaprashad Annadi Lobai Shayanamrita Pao Radha Krishna Guna Gao Preme Dako Shri Chaitanya Nihitai Paire Ekadina Shanti Pure Prabhu Advaita Ragare Dui Prabhu Bojane Boshilo Shakori Ashwadhana Prabhu Bole Bhakta Gana Esha Krishna Ashwadhilo Heno Shakashwadhane Krishna Prema Aishe Mane Se preme koro ashvadan Jada buddhi parihari Prasara bhojana kori Hari Hari bolo sarvajan Hari Hari Bolo Sarvajan Bhavshare Govinde Nama Brahmari Vaishnave Sapa Punyavatam Rajan Vishwasunai Vijayate Prasade Sarva Dukhanam Hanirasupajayate Prasana Chetasu Yashu Buddhi Paryavatishtate Tayopa Bhukta Sraganda Vasalankara Charchita Utishta Bojino Dasas Tavamayam Jayemahi Barhapidam Natavara Vapu Karnayo Karnikaram Vibradvasa Kanaka Kapisham Vaijayantim Shamalam Randran Venor Adhara Sudaya Purnayan Gopa Vrindar Rindaranyam Swapada Ramanam Pravishad Kita Kirti Tavakatam Ratam Tajivanam Kavibiriditam Kalmashapaham Shravana Mangalam Maratatam Bhuvigranantiye Puridajana Krishnot Kirtana Gana Nartana Kala Patojani Brajita Shad Bhakti Shatavale Hansa Chakra Madhupa Sheni Viharaspadam Karnanandikalada Vahatu me Jiva Maru Prangane Shri Chaitanya Doyani Detavalasa Lila Sudasarduni Helontu Nitakedaya Vishadaya Pronilaramodaya Shamyachastra Vivadaya Rasadaya Chita Pitomadaya Shashvad Bhakti Vinodaya Sumudaya Madhurya Maryadaya Shri Chaitanya Doya Nidetavadaya Bhuyaramando Daya Shri Vishnu Shavane Parikshira Bhavad Vaisesika Kirtane Pralada Smarane Tarangri Bhajane Lakshmi Pratu Pujane Akrurashtra Vibandane Kapipritir Dasye Tasakyarjuna Sarva Swadma Nivedane Balerabhu Krishna. One more time. Sarva Swadma Nivedane Balerabhu Krishna Ptiresham Para Go Premanande Nitai Gaura Haribo 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 Tai Gaur Haribo. Prasadam for everyone in Santa Clara and San Mateo County. Please come take prasadam. Haribo.